Patriots. I'm Lee Watts, and this is Patriot Point, your source for news and information from a conservative, Christian, and common sense point of view. Well, this week we're going to talk about three different things. First of all, we're talking about the most recent election results and some important analysis about that. Then we're going to be talking about somebody who filed to run for office a day after the primary elections and how that's going to play out. And then I've got kind of a big announcement for everybody. Well, first, let's talk about some of the election results. As everybody who watched the program knows, I've been running for the United States Congress, and at the end of the day, we got about 12,000 votes, close to about 20%, and the other guy won.
Am I upset? No, I am not. A little, but...
Of course, we're upset that we didn't get it. I threw everything I had into this. We had scores and scores and scores of volunteers who were knocking doors, putting out bumper stickers, putting on signs, calling people, did a tremendous amount of work. I looked into it. The other guy didn't have anybody knocking doors. He didn't have any signs. He didn't have any bumper stickers, but he did have about $2 million. And he spent $2 million against us. I did the math on how much money he spent per vote and how much money we spent. I had to spend about 25 cents for each person who wound up voting for us. He spent $25.98 per vote. Yes, that is a tremendous sum of money. It's $2 million for a job that pays $174,000. It really makes me think of this.
Things that make you go, You know, these aren't jokes, these are thoughts, these are things that make you say,
Yes, things that make you say, why would I spend $2 million for a job that pays $100,000? Oh, well, that's the way that it is. People have been asking me if I'm going to run for something else. Maybe we'll see where the Lord decides to send me. For now, I'm going to be continuing what I have been doing. For years, I have served as the chaplain to the Kentucky State Capitol. I'm going to continue to do that ministry just as I always have. If you'd like to learn more about that, I have a new website for you. Not the campaign site. This is the ministry website, which I have used for years. It is www.godandcountryministry.com. And you'll see there a lot of different things we do. I invite you to come up to the Capitol. I'll give you a tour. You can talk about having me out to your church or your Patriot group to teach lessons on the biblical principles of government, America's Christian heritage. I love to do things like that. So go to the new website, godandcountryministry.com, and you'll see a lot of things there that I hope will be a blessing for you. And even though we did not win, I always like to say we are never judged on our success in life. You are only judged on your faithfulness. Did you do what the Lord told you to do? Without any shadow of a doubt, I can say completely honestly, I did exactly what I believe the Lord would have us to do, and now we will stand by and wait for His orders on what to do next. But let's talk about some of the other races that went on this week. We had some upsets and some big changing of the guard that went on. One of the people that got the ousting was the longest-serving member of the Kentucky House of Representatives, a Democrat by the name of Tom Burch, one of the most liberal leftist people that I have ever met in my entire life. Well, he just got defeated, and I say praise the Lord for that. Now, on the Republican side, we saw a lot of changes going on in the Republican primaries. Long-sitting establishment Republican Adam Koenig was defeated by a newcomer, Liberty candidate by the name of Stephen Doan. Establishment Republican Ed Massey was just defeated by a fellow that we had talked about here on Patriot Point. We'd put him among the list of what we called A-team Liberty candidates. Mr. Steve Rawlings was victorious. In that race, we saw that one coming. Another long-term establishment person who was defeated is Mr. Sal Santoro, was defeated by Miss Maureen Proctor. We also see another Liberty candidate stepping up in the Republican primary, new state senator Lindsey Tirschner, if I said her name correctly. Forgive me if I didn't. We also saw Liberty candidates John Hodgson and Candy Massaroni, another person that we had mentioned on the A-team of Liberty candidates, just win their races. And of course, there's a bunch of others across the state. There's one race that was lost, but I think is very important, and that is the race of David Osborne versus Bridget Elley. David Osborne is the current Kentucky Speaker of the House of Representatives. and he won his race. He retained his seat. But his opponent was a lady by the name of Bridget Elley. We had talked a little about her as well. An unknown person. She was outspent by about 500% from what she got. But she still was able to attain nearly 40% of the vote. I think that is incredibly telling. So we'll see what's in store for her in the future and for her opponent. Somebody who's a little more well-funded, 40% for an unknown person that was outspent by 500%. I think that really says a lot. So that's some of the races that happened and some of the things to be looking forward to. Now let's talk about somebody who just filed to run for office a day after the primaries. And that is a man by the name of Mr. Russell Coleman. And he just filed to run for the Attorney General of Kentucky. Now, the reason he can do that a day after the primaries is the primary for Attorney General won't be until May of next year. Our current Attorney General is filing to run for governor. So he can't run for two offices at the same time. So the Attorney General position will be open. The person who has just filed, Mr. Russell Coleman, he has been a former U.S. attorney, and he's also served as the legal counsel for Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell. So we're seeing Mitch is putting his person up there, and that's who he's trying to put into place. He will not be unopposed in this race. It's very early. I expect to see a few other lawyers enter this race. I am really looking forward to maybe one of these lawyers who's helped us fight Andy Beshear, somebody who's been standing up to actually fight for Kentuckians' liberty instead of somebody being sent from out of state. But we'll see who files in the coming weeks and months. We'll be talking about each of these people, examining their records so that you'll be able to make an informed decision when you go vote. And make sure, even though your person didn't necessarily win in the primary, that make sure you vote in the general election. Like I always say, government belongs to those who show up. Liberty is not a spectator sport. So that's somebody who filed after the election, some of the people who won and lost during the primary this last week. And now I got a special announcement for you. For nearly 2.5 years now, I'm doing Patriot Point. At the beginning, I was doing 3 or 4 episodes a week, and I've been doing it every single week. So the election kind of worried me out from working so hard, and my daughter is being married, and we're getting ready to plan a wedding reception here in about a week and a half, and of course that's going to take a lot of effort. So I'm going to take off for the next 2 weeks. I think it is a well-deserved, well-earned break, but we are not done. We will be back on June the 10th. We will be back after a 2-week vacation, enjoying my daughter's wedding and her reception, and just getting the batteries recharged, and we're getting right back in the fight. So that's what's going on this week. Don't forget to visit the new website, which is godandcountryministry.com. And until 2 weeks from today on June the 10th, I'm Lee Watts for Patriot Point, reminding you that liberty is not a spectator sport.
Things that make you go,
You know, these aren't jokes, these are thoughts. These are things that make you say,